Honorable guests, comprising the chief guest, although he had to leave for his preoccupations elsewhere. Honorable Speaker, Rajasthan Vidhan Sabha Shri Dayanand ji, the key speaker, Dr. Pandey sir, and as I have usually told the people, that he is a legend and cannot be described in words. And this you must have realized when he was speaking from the list. Registrar Sri Keshi Sharma ji, convener of the program Prof. Subhash ji, और मेरे सामने बैठे सभी श्रेष्ठतर विद्वजन साथियों, मीडिया कर्मी, विद्यार्थी, शोधार्थी एवं महासाथी, Mitra, I am very sure that the discourse that took place in the form of the delivery that was made by Dr. Pandey was a job which nobody else would have done but he. And therefore I congratulate him and express my gratitude to him that he agreed to be here amongst us. And we started in the morning and continued up to the afternoon. That speaks of the spectrum of knowledge that he carries in his mind and the delivery that he can make. Sir, my gratitude to you. I also express my gratitude to the chief guest Vasudev Vedanand ji, although he could not stay here. But whenever we request him, he makes it a point to be here amongst us, and therefore my gratitude must be placed on record for him too. Because the task of a chair or the task of the chair is to analyze what has happened during the delivery and the discourses that took place. And therefore the three things that I could visualize, that I could find out from the discourse that took place. Number one, what are the Vedas and Vedangas? That was question one that was properly answered. The other one was why and how they were neglected. What were the reasons that invited the neglect of our pious Shastras? And the third one, what is the concept of Viksit Bharat and what we need to do as educators. And in very brief, I would like to say a little bit. I am very sure that by now you must have tired, and the way I speak, you may not be very interesting, but then the chair has to perform its task, and therefore I am supposed to speak. Otherwise, after you go away and packet the Pandal, that is this Swara Sabhagar, you would say the Vice Chancellor is superfluous. He couldn't speak any word, or even a single word about the subject that was about the seminar. And therefore it has become inevitable duty of mine to talk about what was being said and what is the relevance of the things which were said from this days. And therefore what I could conclude from the discourse that took place was that Ved and Vedanga, they are not ideological set, but they are wisdom in action. And this we must carry home. Usually we keep away all these notions by saying that they belong to Hinduism. Some call it Hinduness, some call it Sanatan Parampara, when we want to give an elevated term to it. As was very clear from the discourse that flowed, that they are wisdom in action. But the problem is, we were not accustomed to the reading, means it was not expected from us that these things are to be taught in the schools and the colleges. Because Vedas and Vedangas used to form the part of every school in the ancient India. But then, if you look at the history of the 300 years, 400 years, you would find that there were prominently two regions because of which the knowledge system was completely eclipsed. And number one, the primary reason was colonial legacy. And the second one was our admiration for the West. Without knowing anything, because whatever came from them was the best, as was consistently said by Dr. Pandey also in this discourse. And therefore we decided to accept everything that came from them and give them a top place. Now we need to rethink. It did not happen only in the pre-independent India, but in the 70 years of post-independent India also. What was the conspiracy that was taking place? That we need to think, we all educators, because I can see a huge number of students for the first time, sitting more than 350, this is what the convener was telling me. It shows, it speaks of the inspiration, the attraction of you people towards the subject, that how much attraction we have developed and we want to study our Shastras. Because I have been saying in my discourse that in ancient India, we never made a distinction between, as Dr. Pandey rightly said, everybody has to study everything. और इसलिए राजकुमार शस्त्र भी पढ़ते थे और शास्त्र चलाना भी सीखते और दोनों में दक्षता हासिल करते और वो उन्हीं गुरुओं के द्वारा दी जाती थी जो गुरु उन्हें शास्त्रों की शिक्षा देते थे, वही गुरु उन्हें शस्त्रों की शिक्षा देते थे. Miत्रों, this appeared from the sea. What was the reason for this? We need to trace that reason. And we need to take the curative step. I would not say, because curative in the sense, otherwise this melody will continuously rise. Now, how to eradicate this problem? I will give you simply one example. You must have heard the name of Susu. He was a famous surgeon of ancient India. अगर उनकी किताब को आप पढ़ते हैं, पुस्तक को, तो वो कहते हैं every operation must be followed by chanting a mantra. Have we ever thought about why should an operation be operated or done or followed by the enchanting of a mantra? What was the reason for this? We could never talk about that. We continue to think it as an orthodox practice and therefore never bothered about it because this is how they taught us. And this is how compartmentalization began. We could never interrelate. Here we must have learned how linguistics is related with medicine. We could not interrelate. Now, after having talked about this, we should have talked about the fact that this is the subject of interdisciplinarity. Now when we come to multidisciplinarity, we must have thought about it, that what is the impact of this connection on the psychology of the patient. We could not relate it. Multidisciplinarity. And the third one, transdisciplinarity, when we bring a society into being, what is the impact of everything that is being done on the society? We are talking about transdisciplinarity. And therefore, dear friends, our prime duty and pious duty is to develop our curriculum on these four basic fundamentals. I am not talking about the fact that don't take them discipline. Teach them the discipline also, but also teach them interdiscipline. Also teach them multidisciplinarity. Also teach them transdisciplinarity. कितना सत्यानाश हुआ है एजुकेशन सिस्टम का. You can see from the fact Vedanga was translated. वेदांगा व्याकरण वेदांग है और उसका ट्रांसलेशन में क्या किया? ग्रामर. व्याकरण has no equivalent in English. Grammar is simply a mechanism which allows us to put the words together. But then Vyakaran is a complete philosophy. I can explain this philosophy. Being a man of language, I can talk about it at length. But because of the paucity of time and because of several other factors, I would not wish to talk about it. The only message that we need to carry home is that these three things need to be taken care of, which, although in a scattered way, but very, very explicitly explained by the speakers in the earlier session. Now coming to the notion of Viksit Bharat, जब मोदी जी ने विकसित भारत की बात की, इसकी घोषणा की, nobody was so aware of the fact that this Viksit Bharat could become so famous, and he said, inaugurating, if you read the speech of the Honorable Prime Minister, he said, my Viksit Bharat would be inclusive India, that would include the poor, that would include the women, that would include the poor, that would include the downtrodden. And therefore, what must be the component of this Viksit Bharat? It must be a Bharat that would be healthy. It must be a Bharat that would be secure. It must be a Bharat that would be sustainable. It must be a Bharat that would be educated. And one more fundamental, I have forgotten that the last one. But he talked about these 5 fundamentals when he talked about the notion of the Viksit Bharat. And then he talked about the stages also. And he said, when we talk about the Viksit Bharat, we need to plan it. And there are 3 stages of achieving this Viksit Bharat. Number 1, envisioning India. When you will be planning the things, you will imagine India, will put the things in the proper sequence. Then he talked about enabling India. Enabling India, you will take to action, you will prepare yourself. And then enacting India, you will implement that notion. In the same way, we educators here and the student, we need to carry home the message. As I said earlier also in my discourse, that this university we have decided to organize only those seminars which do have policy implications and social utility. I hope that the stuff that we have got would carry social utility and policy implications as well, and we would be able to frame our courses in the direction that has followed from the discourses that happened over there. Finally, I would say that nothing follows from imposition. If I say IKS is to be followed because there is an order from the above, there are 2 processes, imposition and internalization. Dear friends, when we need to implement a thing with a proper sense, we need to internalize. We need to go to the classroom, and it is not only through the content that you will internalize it. It would be the pedagogy in the classroom that the teacher would make use of, through which we would be able to internalize it. And for this, I would suggest that primarily let us talk about the learner-centric approach. Learner-centric, a teacher has to be learner-centric when he goes to the classroom, and then he needs to identify the background from which he comes, and therefore experiential learning also. I hope that teachers who are present here, all the teachers and the students, they would carry this message home and would try, because you see, no country could develop. This is what Honorable Prime Minister also said in his discourse. He said no country could grow by disaffiliating itself from the roots. Look at the history of Japan. Look at the history of Germany. I would like to talk about one experience of mine that happened with me in Japan. This is yet to happen in this country. I went there in the year 2011, chaired a session. I have talked about this thing earlier also. And after the session was over, the co-chair was a Japanese friend. And simply it was my curiosity, what do you teach? In English. And his answer was, we teach only grammar and communication, English communication. In the name of English, all the other subjects that we teach, are classics in translation. Means Japanese classics in translation. Dear friends, this is to happen in this country yet. Because whenever I go and attend the Board of Studies meeting or anywhere else, still we suffer from that mentality. The mentality that the received knowledge and received experience is better than our own experience. And therefore, let us learn to recognize our own value and knowledge system. Because if we look at the history, and India is a living civilization, I tell you. And if I can sum up this civilization, I would say that this civilization has been Dharma Pradhan and Jnana Kendra. No other civilization can be compared to India, which talks about both the things at the same time. If you go to the West, they will talk about Gyan, but when they talk about Gyan, they forget to make a distinction between information and knowledge. They do not know how to differentiate between intellect and wisdom. And therefore there is a chaos, a complete chaos has taken place. It is our system that makes everything very clear. And therefore, let us take this message home that we are more clear in our notions, we are more explicit in our notions, our conceptual clarity that will make this nation great. Thank you so much.
I have last word to say to you that you are all blessed by the Almighty, that in a way that you have so nice and so academic vice chancellor with you. And for your kind information, my book Bharat जो है उसका इंग्लिश ट्रांसलेशन इन्होंने ही किया है और उसका लोकार्पण प्राइम मिनिस्टर करेंगे और उसमें उनको सम्मानित किया जाएगा। मैं आपसे जो कहा है वो बात ध्यान में रखिएगा। मैं आपको बस इसलिए मैं आया हूँ, सिर्फ इसलिए ये कहने के लिए नहीं है, तो इनके विषय में एडजेक्टिव लगाने की जरूरत नहीं, सूरज को रोशनी देखने की जरूरत नहीं। मैं आपसे सिर्फ एक बात कहने आया हूँ कि जब तक आप देखिए, एक फॉर्मूला है, एक फ्रेज है, आई रीड आई फॉरगेट, आई रिमेंबर बट नॉट टू डीटो unable to deliver the same thing which I remember. लेकिन if you experience anything, then you understand that. और ये जो मकड़ जाल है, मार्केट ओरिएंटेड एजुकेशन का जो मकड़ जाल, इसका सिर्फ एक उदाहरण मैं देता हूँ। रेशम का कीड़ा हमने देखा, रेशम का, आप लोगों ने सुना होगा, ये जो रेशम बनती है कीड़े, उसके रेशे से, वो रेशम को अपने कीड़े का जाल बुनता है और 99.99% कीड़े, रेशम के कीड़े अपने बनाए जाल में फंस के मर जाते। कभी मिलियंस एंड ट्रिलियंस में कोई एक कीड़ा अपने जाल से निकल के बाहर आता है और जैसे बाहर आता है वो बटरफ्लाई बन जाता है, तितली बन जाती है। तो आई होप कि आप